Woo!
Woo!
It's been cold out there, man.
Woo! Ric
Who
Flair.
did that?
Woo! Yeah, it stinks, man.
Yeah, it does.
I was telling some people this morning, there is a whole lot of suckiness to this cold.
Yeah.
Like walking into work, it was around 4 a.m. hitting that parking lot, just like it was 45 yesterday morning and raining, and that was a picnic compared to this.
Yeah.
Single-digit wind chills that we had this morning, my
It'll
man.
get worse. It'll
It
get
is.
worse.
There's a lot more to go.
Yep.
Go through, and there's going to be snow chances. You hit some of those snow squalls last night.
Yeah, I know. I told him I took a little picture of some of the snow that had made its way up onto a curb, and I was like, oh, we got some snow drifts in here. And then we really had some actual impacts on the roadways. Things got dirty in a hurry out there.
It really did. That snow that came down, getting on the roadways, a lot of the interstate travel where you had continuous, tires going over it, started to mash it in, some melting. And then with temperatures falling through the 20s,
It became ice.
it instantly turned to ice.
Jackknifed semis and
not
folks
fun.
sliding off the road. So yeah, I mean, even with those little snowbursts like that, you get the conditions just right. It's not going to be pleasant out there. And I mean, right now it's not pleasant in general. Shelbyville feels like it's 9 degrees, 18 up in Bloomington. That's warm compared to Carrollton at 13. So it feels cold for sure.
We've dug out of the trenches sort of this morning during the 5 to 10 a.m. morning show. We had readings 5 to 10 degrees. That was the lowest that we saw. At least there's more double digits now. So improvements, and some of us still in the sunshine. That lake effect moisture, that's kind of cool how you see that. Yeah, I mean,
streamers out there.
As a nerd, it's kind of cool how you see it just arced with the winds off of Lake Michigan, creating clouds and some flurries.
Yeah, and so we've seen that happen before. I remember actually my first winter up here back in 24, and some of the models were saying, oh, we can get snow off Lake Michigan. I thought, we're so far away. Is that real? And it very much so was real, and it put down measurable snow. And we've seen that happen a few times here recently. So it is amazing. Even smaller bodies of water like that really do have an effect on the climate down here in our area.
When I worked in Norfolk, I had never experienced any sort of climate like that, working right on the ocean front, dealing with the Atlantic Ocean, the Chesapeake Bay, and the challenges that came with that. They were wild with what happens when the wind starts to blow off the water or when the wind's not blowing off the water. One of the things that some forecasters that had been there for a long time, they're like, wait till you see, or if you're here long enough to see, the Chesapeake Bay enhanced snowfall that can happen. The Chesapeake Bay, very narrow. It's nothing like Lake Michigan. But that one time where the winds were from the north, there was Arctic air, and man, it was wild. Just this one tiny streamer, but big time snow coming out of it, and you learn fast.
Yes, you do.
All it takes usually is one time, and it's like, okay,
I'll never forget that.
I get it now.
Yep.
Looking ahead to our Clipper system that we're going to have arriving overnight, early tomorrow morning with the warm front first.
Yeah, so that's what you see out to the west. It's still up in Canada right now. That swoops in behind what we just got here. It's going to be reinforcing cold. I mean, first, actually, we warm up, as he was saying. The warm front's going to swing through. It's a little bit of a warming trend. We'll see some rain out of it, and then a quick transition over to snow. We'll time all that out in just a little bit here. You can see that we've got some dry air that's made its way back in as well.
I went with this map to show a couple things. I think this is kind of cool. So water vapor imagery, Matthew was pointing out that dry air, look for the brown colors, or if it's not as prominent when you see those bright whites, the air's a little bit drier in the mid-levels of the atmosphere. This does a really easy job to depict how things are flowing around.
Yeah.
And when you head out towards California, out towards the Pacific Ocean, from Hawaii up towards Alaska, notice how all that moisture, that Pacific moisture is going way up towards Alaska, and then it bends over towards Canada. Nothing's coming onshore to the west coast. There's a big blocking high pressure out that way. These systems that are moving in here, like the one that we had yesterday, the one that we're going to have on Friday, it originates as a pretty strong storm out in the Pacific, but the thing is, it gets shunned way up through the Canadian Rockies. Now, by the time it moves through the higher elevations, it gets ripped apart a little bit. and then it starts to work down south on that jet stream. We're going to see the low pressure that's in Manitoba right now. It's a decent compact low, but it doesn't have as much moisture as it once did. But as that arrives, these clipper systems, we'll call this one a Manitoba Mauler, is easily going to have the chance, the likelihood for scattered snow. Most of it will be on the light side. But Matthew, one thing that I learned about is I would say a meteorologist.
Meteorologist. Time to go back to bed, buddy.
As a meteorologist, as a novice in all of this, I used to think that a clipper system, it's all about snow. That's how they get their name. That's what they're derived from. That's not the case. In fact, one of the questions that I had on my AMS, American Meteorological Society test to get the seals of approval and all that, was about Alberta clippers, Manitoba maulers, whatever, clipper systems.
Yeah.
So they are derived from fast-moving ships. That's how it gets the name clipper. Back in like the 19th century, these smaller ships that would be used to move really quickly throughout large bodies of water, the oceans. And basically a clipper is all about wind.
The speed.
The fast pace that it has and winds that it delivers. It has nothing to do really with snow. I mean, in the wintertime, usually they're going to bring snow wherever they go. But this one is going to get the winds going again tomorrow.
Yep.
Clipper systems have a lot of wind energy to them, and they move fast, in and out. The snow chance is going to come at us with the warm front in the morning. Before we get through the 30s into the low 40s, we have a few hours worth of some snow, don't we?
Yes, we do. So the opportunity for some snow exists maybe before the morning commute or right around that time. And then it does that transition over to the rain and then snow again. So there's going to be a lot that happens on Friday, and it's going to be very important where it all sets up for us here. So the morning commute, minor accumulations, not impossible. Some slick spots. I mean, maybe kind of similar to what we saw the other day. Less icing, I think, though, compared to what we had last night with the jackknife semis and things like that. Friday night, it's a transition over from rain back to snow. And then Saturday, scattered snow bursts, flurries. Again, you get quick accumulations. They may not hang around real long, but they'll be there.
That background image that you see where that pavement or whatever you're looking at there, how it's shiny, icy. We had a lot of that last night.
Yeah.
There's probably going to be some scenes similar to that early tomorrow morning where this snow sets up. This is more of a light snow, not really those snow squalls that we had last night, but with pavement temperatures being a lot colder this go around, you know, if it's not treated, if it's not brined.
Which I will say, on my way in, I saw a lot of the roads were treated. Like Breckenridge, I take that in, that was already treated.
You know, you might get a dusting of snow on some interstates, some roads, wherever, on your driveway, sidewalks, things like that. Well, it's not a lot of snow. We're going to stay at or below freezing for it, so it's going to be slick at a bad time. That's probably the biggest thing, the timing. Here's a look at the future radar coming in about 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yep. So this is, again, Friday morning. Temperatures are well below freezing at this point. We've been below freezing for quite some time at this point. So the ground's cold. It's going to sustain the snow, whatever does fall. Again, the untreated areas where you get your slick spots. 5 o'clock, morning commute already starting. Folks are getting out there early. The snow is present. Again, while it's not going to be a lot, I mean, from what I've been looking at, Jude, and correct me if I'm wrong, we're talking maybe around 1/4 inch or so. And that's hit or miss here and there. It's not everybody.
It looks to be a weakening system.
Yeah.
It's hitting dry air. It sort of pulses up with some moisture, and then it's running in here, catching up with the backside of last night's storm where we're bringing in dry air now.
Yeah.
So that should help kill off quite a bit of the snow. It doesn't look like snow amounts would be anything greater.
Do me a favor.
Than
Take
an
over
inch.
for just a second here, Jude. I want to look up a little something and a little factoid for the folks here.
Now I'm intrigued. Okay, I'm going to take over for a
You
second,
got this.
Matthew. So that light snow that we have in the morning quickly tapers off. Now here we are heading towards 9 in the morning. Temps near freezing. That southwesterly wind is going to get strong. It is going to get really windy. Gusts could exceed 30 miles per hour. We'll refer to this as a snow eater since it's from the southwest. We will warm through the 30s. We should very well have quite a few 40s on the map tomorrow. And whatever snow that could possibly happen before sunrise on our Friday is going to be eaten up by that. It would melt. So we have hours of dry weather. It is going to be windy. And then we're going to see those 40s begin to slowly back off through the 30s. Here comes moisture into our Friday evening. More than likely some cold rain. That will help drop the temperature down through the 30s. We'll get a changeover to some wet snow. This system fusing together a little bit to where we're going to have a period of some steadier light snow, maybe a period of some moderate snow. But at this point in time, this is not the temperature crash that happened last night.
Right.
We're not into the Arctic air just yet. We can get accumulation from this where it's falling, but we're not going to expect a flash freeze.
Right.
You know, that makes a big difference. There will be some snow. There could be some slick spots out there later on tomorrow night, Matthew, as we head through 10 o'clock. Did you find your factoid?
I did. And just to hit on this really quick, some of the models do say that this transition over to snow is going to happen a little bit further east of us. So we're still trying to hammer out the details on exactly where that and when that rain snow transition happens here. So still some questions on that second round especially. But with the first round happening in the morning, and there's not much, I had to double check because I didn't want to say anything wrong. About some studies suggest about 75% of snow-related crashings happen in 2 inches or less of snowfall.
Oh, yeah.
And yesterday was a perfect example of that. We got, I mean, again, snow bursts that produce about this much snow, around a quarter of an inch or less, and quickly slick up the roads, underestimate what's happening out there, or hey, I see those slick spots. It looks like just water, but turns out it was a flash freeze to black ice. That's why those things happen, because you just lose just a little bit of traction. You kind of forget that it's happening. You think it's just flurries, and
a lot of it's psychological warfare where human nature kicks in, and you're sitting there leading up to something like this thinking, okay, well, we don't have a winter storm warning.
Not even an advisory.
There's no meteorologist out there saying, get your shovels ready. This is a big winter storm. This is significant. It was 60 degrees.
Mm-hmm.
You just get in that mindset and you're thinking, we're okay. There might be a little problem, but what is it?
About 75%.
About 75%. And if you live around here, so many times, November, December, January, February, going into March, anytime there's a covering of snow with the right conditions where the temperatures are dropping, gosh, it's worse than when you do have preparation and there's going to be a half foot of snow.
Because everyone, when they see everything's covered in snow, you take it extra slow, or you just stay off the roads in general. But when it's just this much, you're like, I got this. Turns out we don't always got it.
The other thing that's easy to do is you're listening to a weather forecast, sort of goes in one ear and right out the other when it's like, we don't have a big storm just to cover. It just, you start to zone out. It really is psychological. Saturday morning, colder air is moving in. This is probably going to be about the first time we get at or below freezing. Is going to be just before daybreak, holding in the low to mid 30s most of Friday night. But as that wind starts to pour in from the west-northwest, we're going to stop. We're not going to climb. Upper 20s to near 30 most of Saturday, and tell people what's going on, not just at the surface, but what's going on with the amount of cold that's happening upstairs during the day Saturday.
Well, there will be plenty of that, but again, you see these temperatures hovering right around freezing, and I haven't looked at any soundings today for what's happening on Saturday, so I may be missing what you're heading for here, but I would say that any opportunity for any precipitation on Saturday is going to be an all snow scenario, whatever we get.
Extremely cold air aloft.
You talk about it squeezing out. You mentioned that before. When you get these Arctic blasts, it squeezes out whatever moisture's left over. So any of these snow bursts, again, are going to reduce visibilities and give you potentially accumulating snow once again. So if you didn't get it one round, you probably get it the next.
The reason the amount of cold that you have going up in the sky makes a difference, because if you go from the surface where, say, it's 31 degrees, and then you're going to 15,000 feet up in the air, and it's 20 below zero, that temperature difference creates instability. And the more of a difference you have over a gradual space, will determine how much instability you have. And with the amount of cold that's rushing in from the surface, and then especially upstairs, we're going to have unstable air, which will help produce
Squeeze it out.
these little things on the radar,
Yep.
like last night, tiny streamers, tiny specks. But where they happen, it'll look like a blizzard for 15 minutes.
Yeah. So again, that's where you get those reduced visibilities. That's where you get that quick accumulation to cause the slick spots on the roadways, and that can happen at any point on Saturday morning or during the evening hours as well across Kentuckiana. Here's our feels like temperatures now, sitting mainly right around 10 degrees, some teens across our area. Indianapolis feels like 9. Windy City, Chicago feels like 4. And then you've got your -28 in Yellowknife, Canada, that sort of scenario. We see it all the time for them up there, just how brutally cold it can end up being.
I think this is such a cool map as it helps show you exactly what happens with clippers. Because Billings feels like 50 right now, and you mentioned Yellowknife at about 30 below zero with the wind chill. That southerly wind, that wind coming off the Rockies, down sloping ahead of that next Arctic front, has that a massive pump of warmer conditions. Right now we have low 40s tomorrow for highs. We could easily exceed that if we have enough dry time. If this thing stays dry from 8 in the morning through like 5 o'clock in the afternoon, these things typically exceed what computer models are printing out for high temperatures, just because of how much surge of a southwest wind takes place, and it's evident there. So it's kind of neat to see how you got that big bubble of warmth, and then lurking just above it, it is damming up extreme amounts of cold. And here you go.
Yeah,
here's the jailbreak.
We've been talking
Let
about
'em
this
out.
one for a while. Just how cold it's going to be, and not just a couple of days in here, but an extended period of time. Now, we're not talking record-setting cold by any means. That's
No
not
snow,
the
but
case.
there's not enough snow in the U.S. to get that to happen.
You mentioned that. So a lot of times snowpack, especially further northwest of our area, let's say over the northern plains through Illinois, when the winds are coming from this direction over a dense snowpack, it's going to be running over much colder air that's been, the snow reflects the sunshine back out, so you're not soaking up the heat at the surface. So the air is significantly colder, and it drops those temperatures to record lows.
I wish I would have loaded
don't have
that map in here. I don't have it.
The snowpack map?
Yeah, because there is, once you get from like the Dakotas south, there's nothing.
Yeah.
Some Great Lakes snow, but once this air moves south of the border, essentially there is no snow on the ground in the U.S. to keep this really enhanced. So while it does get really cold,
It could always be worse.
yes,
So got to find the silver lining in the situation somewhere.
which he and I will do every single
Yep.
time.
So
We are not gloom and doom ever,
No.
are we?
No,
We're all rainbows, sunshine, butterflies. Life is great, man.
until the moment calls for it, until there's something real bad, and then it's like, but you always there is good in every bad situation, even when we're talking about temperatures that are going to feel like they're below zero, especially Monday morning, Tuesday morning, near or below zero for the feels like temperatures out there. It's going to be brutally cold. Now, a lot of the things that I've seen, a lot of the models have keeping the worst of the feels like temperatures as usual going to be in southern Indiana, but I mean, boy, it will be rough out there to start off the next work week, Jude. We've seen it before, but break out the winter jacket. I know that we just had, what was it, last week, a high temperature of 69 degrees for a record high, and then we're right back down to this.
Yes,
Happens.
sir.
We get these big swings this time of year, and this is just another one of them.
Let's do one more recap before we shut this puppy
Okay.
down. It's 11:43 on this Thursday morning, and what we're looking at here, sort of 3 specific times there's going to be impacts from snow. Overnight, 3 o'clock in the morning through about 8 in the morning, light snow develops, scattered, might come down long enough to combine with temps below freezing, pavement temperatures that will be below freezing, that a covering of snow can happen on some untreated pavement. So that's one. Tell them about issue number 2.
The second one would be it transitions over to rain throughout the day, and then a rain to snow transition back again Friday night. So especially if you're out on the town late in the evening, temperatures will be hovering just above freezing, but snow will be falling at that point, so more slick spots possible out there. Again, you're out on the town late Friday. I think that's could be, again, impactful. If it's not snow on the roads, it's going to be rain anyway, so the roads are wet.
And then we should have some adrenaline rushing snow showers during the day Saturday. Early in the morning, we could start to flare those during the day. Pop-ups, when I mean by adrenaline rushing snowburst, you're walking
They've
through
got
the house
energy.
doing something. You happen to just take a glance out the window. You're like, holy beep.
Yep.
Like yesterday, I was like, Leo, come here, man. Look at this. You could see it coming in from the west. It was like a whiteout.
Yeah.
He was sort of excited about it, not as much as me, but it's like it'll stop you in your tracks when you look outside and you can only see maybe a couple streets over, and that's it.
Yeah.
It'll snow like madness.
It's pretty funny. I had 2 instances yesterday where people told me, "Oh my gosh, it's snowing. I didn't know it was going to do that." And both times I asked them, "Did you watch the weather?" And they go, "No." One of them was my roommate. I was like, "Come on, man, I'm right here."
We'll leave with this. How about so you said your story right there.
Yeah.
And I get it. A lot of people don't turn on the news anymore. A lot of people aren't watching the weather forecast on TV, on computers, on whatever, but what they are doing, they're waking up, they're looking at the weather apps. And that's awesome. I'm not going to sit and down weather apps and I can't believe you need to. I mean, it's life as we know it. It's how it is. But just understand that when you go to your weather app, when you have a 30%, a 60%, a 10%, there's so much more to it than seeing that.
Not just, we don't just say, oh, it's a 30% chance for snow. We mention the winds that are coming into the factor as well. We talk about the possibility of it melting and icing over and things like that. I think that's probably what you were leaning toward there.
Yeah. So, if you're going to roll through and do the weather app thing, that's awesome. But maybe try to find a couple minutes throughout the day just to make sure there's nothing else, more to that story than just the percentage and the temperature and what's going on. Because on a weather app, there's only so many things that can be done by the computer, typed in and showing off.
Yeah.
So that's one of those situations where, especially Saturday morning, Saturday afternoon, Saturday evening, 60% chance, a 20% chance. There is a lot more going on because it can be truly a blizzard for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And that 30% chance is like, holy moly, we need to shut it down. We're not leaving the house.
I understand.
Does that make sense?
It does make sense.
My man.
That's how a lot of people felt yesterday when they saw what was going on out there, and then it was done in about 10 or 15 minutes.
Yes, sir. All right, check in with Mark and Radar Rick later on tonight. You're on the midday show on WDRB.
12 minutes
12 and a half minutes starting